Hey guys, welcome to our reading lesson. Alright, we are just about ready to take the test over Big Red Lollipop and my rotten red-headed older brother. Now the test we're going to take is called a Comprehension Test. And comprehension means, did you understand what was going on in the story? And I know that was one thing we worked on this week. We've worked on the characters and the setting and the plot. And the plot kind of is what's going on in the story. So I wanted to go back over that real quick before you take the test, just because I don't feel like I taught it very well. I think we were still all just a little bit confused about what plot means and how to do plot best. So I wanted to teach it one more time just so I feel like you guys have got it perfect, okay? Now before I start, I want to show you something in Teams that you may have already seen, so I'm going to get out of this real quick. Go down here to Teams. I just wanted to show you in your ELAV2 team, if you go up here to Files, if it'll load up, if you go up here to Files, you'll see the books. If you click on the Big Red Lollipop and the My Rotten Redheaded Older Brother, it's going to bring it up and you can see the pages and you can read these stories too, okay? So mom and dad can help you read it, you can read it, maybe you guys can take turns. You read a page, they read a page, you read a page, they read a page. That's a great idea. Just so you can remember these two stories. So that would be a great idea for you to do before you take this test here in just a minute. That way you definitely know that you can remember the plot of the story. Alright, but let's get back into today's lesson. Alright, so we're going to take it on, we're going to talk about Big Red Lollipop and my rotten red-headed older brother. Alright, and the characters and the setting and the plot are what we are working on. And I know you guys are getting really good at the characters and the setting. It's the plot that I really want to go back over again. And it's not your fault. I just feel like I need to teach it to you better because I don't think like I've done a very good job. So let's try it again. Alright, the first story we're going to talk about is Big Red Lollipop. And of course you know the characters, Rubina, Sana, Ami, and Miriam. Those, remember Ami is the mom, Rubina, Sana, and Miriam were all the sisters. Rubina was the oldest, then Sana, and then Miriam. The setting, remember, is where it was at. And it's in, most of the story is in Rubina's house. And we talked about present day means, you know, it's happening around this certain time. It wasn't in the past. It wasn't in the future. It's like right now. Alright, so let's get to the plot. Because I know that we did an activity of this already where you guys had to fill in the ending. But like I said, I don't think I taught it very good. The important thing to remember about plot is that you should just kind of go back over the story and tell everybody what happened in the story. But you want to make sure that you don't have to tell every teeny little thing that happened. And we were talking about just the beginning and the middle and the end. And it kind of got a little bit tricky because sometimes we weren't telling the whole story. We want to make sure that we tell people what happened and we don't leave anything important out, but that we do it much, much shorter. So like in the beginning of the story, I know we talked about how Rubina was asked to go to the party. She was invited and she had to take... her mom said she had to take Miriam, even though she, or not Miriam, sorry. Her mom said she had to take Sana, even though she didn't really want to. That was kind of the whole beginning of the story. And that beginning of the story was like 3 or 4 pages. But I didn't have to write everything. I just have to kind of sum it up or make it a little bit shorter and just tell the important stuff. Alright, and then you'll remember next, when they go to the party, because that's what happens next, they go to the party. And Sana acts badly. I remember she cried and she kind of threw fits. And the other girls don't want her at any more parties because she was kind of a brat, wasn't she? And then when they get home, Sana eats Rubina's lollipop, and Rubina is upset with Sana for the way that she acted and for eating her lollipop, of course. So that was kind of our middle part of the story. Even though I'm not calling it beginning, middle, and end like we talked about, I think this way works better, to just tell what happened in the story one thing after the other. I think when we talked about beginning, middle, and end, it kind of got us a little confused. So this time we're just kind of talking about the events in the story. What happened and what happened next and what happened after that, what happened after that. So we're at the part where she ate the lollipop, of course, and Rubina is definitely mad at her. I can understand that. And then what happened next was that, remember, Sana gets invited to a party one day. And Ami was going to make her take her little sister, Miriam, even though she really didn't want to. I remember she was begging and pleading so much, she was crying so much. But if you remember, Rubina talks to Ami and convinces her not to make Sana take Miriam. She doesn't want Sana to have the same problems that she has. And then Sana brings her a lollipop from the party, and the girls are friends again. So this is kind of a better way to talk about the plot than the way that we did in the previous lesson. I like this way a lot better just because it kind of follows the story. It's not leaving anything important out. We talked about everything important in the story. And I know a lot of you are like, gosh, yeah, that was a lot of stuff. But think about how long the book really was, how many pages was in the book. I've made it much shorter, haven't I? Yes, much shorter than the book. So that's all we're kind of doing with the plot. You're just telling kind of a short what happened. And you can do that with books or movies or anything. You're just going to tell the plot. Kind of think what was important, what happened next, and then what happened after that. That's all you have to do in a plot. So let's look at My Rotten Red-Headed Older Brother and kind of do the same thing to kind of go over the characters and the setting and the plot in that story. Now we know the characters are who's in it. We had Tricia and Richard, Babushka, Mom, and Grandpa. Remember, Tricia is the little girl. It only says her name one time in that story, I remember, but that is her name. Her brother was Richard. Babushka is her grandma. That's the Ukrainian word or the Russian word for grandma. And then her mom and her grandpa. And of course the setting is are they at? And if you remember, they were on their grandparents' farm and it was in Michigan. It told us that exactly. And it's also during the present day, which means it wasn't way back in the past and it wasn't in the future, it was in the present. Alright, and you all also helped me with this plot. I remember you all just did this yesterday. You guys kind of had to talk about the beginning and the end of this one, I think. I gave you the middle, and you kind of had to do the rest. You did pretty good with that, you really did. It was just the way that I taught it. I think that we needed to go back over it just like before. So let's think about the plot in My Rotten Red-Headed Older Brother. If you remember the beginning, so we have to think, how is it starting? Oh yeah, there was, those two kids, Tricia and Richard, and they don't get along very well. They're brother and sister. They're kind of always fighting because they're always trying to do things better than the other one. And if you remember, Richard could do everything better than Tricia. It didn't matter what they tried, he always could do it better. And then one day, Tricia even thought that she could finally beat him at something. Remember when she tried to do the rhubarb? Richard told her he didn't like rhubarb, so she thinks that she could probably beat him at it since he doesn't like it, but he tricked her. He actually loves the rhubarb, and he beats her at that too. And Tricia decides to make a wish on a falling star to help her finally beat Richard. That was what kind of happened next in the story. And then I bet you remember what happened when she made that wish. Yep, the next day the carnival comes to town and Tricia's wish comes true because she finally beat him at something, didn't she? Yep, she rides the merry-go-round much longer than her brother, but it makes her so dizzy that she passes out and gets hurt. And Richard has to rescue her, and he finally admits that Tricia has done something special, and after that the children get along much better. And like I said, I know we did this the other day, but I think this plot is much better than the plot we did the other day, just because this explains the story very well, and it doesn't leave anything out. It talks about all the important stuff, but it's not nearly as long as the real book. I remember the real book is pages and pages and pages. We don't have to do that when we do the plot. We're trying to make it short, but we want to tell the important things of what it is about, which I think we did a pretty good job of on this one. So the next time you have to tell the plot of a book or a movie, just try to think of what's important and start at the beginning and work your way through the story until you get to the end. Don't really worry about what happened at the beginning or what happened at the middle, what happened at the end. Just start at the beginning and then tell everything that was important until you get to the end. It doesn't matter how long it is. Just that's the plot. Okay. That is my lesson to go back over characters and setting and plot. We're going to talk about this some more, so don't worry. This is a skill that's definitely important in second grade. But I wanted to go back over it just so you get a better idea of what it means when I say plot. All right. Remember, you can go back into your teams and read the books again one more time if you need to before you take the test. All right. Good luck.